Welcome in to the Bench is Cleared podcast, episode 96. I'm Tyler Coe, representing the Los Angeles Dodgers.
And I am Jesse Gutierrez, representing the NL West Division champion San Francisco Giants, but that doesn't matter because none of our teams are even a real thing at the moment.
It also doesn't matter because who cares? Did I ever say the NL West Division champions?
Yes.
No, never.
Yes.
Never.
Guaranteed.
Pull it up and put it in the video if you did. You're lying.
Okay.
Wrong.
I'm pretty sure you did. Maybe you did, but I'm pretty sure you did.
Well, good luck going through all those episodes. Yeah, the baseball doesn't exist. Players don't exist. Even on the MLB website, it's just ominous shadows.
Unlock characters except for Buster Posey.
Yeah, which I don't understand.
I think it's because he's retired, so he's technically not in.
No. I don't understand what the point of blocking them out is. That it's dumb.
It seems like you're just a bitter ex-girlfriend, trying to light the pictures on fire, throw the things out of your house. It's just a sad, desperate attempt to be like, I don't even care. I don't even fucking care, but you care.
Yeah.
Because you took the time to delete everything, and you're going to have
don't
to
lie.
Back up.
We all know.
Right.
Before we get into the bad stuff, which I've been saying was going to happen for a year, and you kept telling me I was wrong.
Well, you said there was going to be a strike. I don't think there's going to be a strike.
Well, we'll find out.
It's still going to start on time. But
I don't know.
It's still going to start.
Okay, whatever. Chris Taylor is a Dodger, will be a Dodger for at least the next 4 years, possibly the next 5. He signed a 4-year, $60 million deal with a club option for year 5. Right. Comes with a $4 million buyout, so it could bump it up to 5 years, $73 million. But on paper, it's a 4-year, $60 million, and I predicted a 4-year, $62 million to the Dodgers. So that's 3 points for me. So if you're keeping score at home, Jesse has 1 point and
2 points.
2 points. Who's your second point?
Alex Cobb going to the Giants.
Oh, you got the team. Yeah, you messed up on everything else.
I cannot believe he got how much he did.
That's because you don't know shit about anything. You're getting blown out of the water.
I am terrible with free agent predictions. I am so
You have one
bad.
guy left. I probably have 10 points at least. I don't even know. I have so many I can't even count.
I have 2 guys. Oh, no, wait. Stroman.
No, you missed on
0
Stroman.
Points.
Yes,
well, no,
exactly.
I'm saying Stroman is off the board, which we will get into in a minute. But, yes, all I have left is Carlos Correa, Freddie Freeman, and Trevor Story, which I believe I'm going to get 2 more points because I believe Freddie Freeman will re-sign with the Braves and the Yankees will sign Trevor Story.
And I have 8 points with 5 guys left.
You have 8 points?
Yeah, with 5 guys left.
I'm going to have to double check this.
Okay.
We're gonna have to double check this.
Man, I might just beat you with Chris Taylor, but anyways, I mean, yesterday was fun, because it was coming down to it felt kind of like the trade deadline because you knew after 9 p.m. Pacific time that was it.
Right.
So it coming down to the wire. Seeing Chris Taylor sign, that was great. And now it just feels like shit.
Right.
The Freddie everyone was, saying there was smoke with Freddie Freeman, with Carlos Correa, especially with Freddie Freeman saying he might sign with the Dodgers before. I didn't think that was going to happen, but it's possible after this. But all of this just seems
it could happen.
It's just so clouded by now it's a lockout. Like it's not even worth talking about anything because there can be no negotiations going on for the time being. So I don't know. There's just nothing.
There is nothing. We're not going to do our torture of each other for shitty predictions at the beginning of the season this episode because there's just too much to get into. So we're going to post on that to what, next week maybe? Probably next week.
Who knows? Who knows if there'll even be baseball again?
See, now you're getting back into your 2020 mode where you're just negative Nancy all day. Just the world is out to get me. And I hate everything.
Yo, that's exactly what I sound like. Everyone's
Yeah.
out to get me. No, the thing.
Everything's
Okay,
gonna suck.
let's
That's what you
just
sound
get
like.
into it. Let's just get into it.
That's a great impression of you, actually.
Okay, we all knew the lockout was coming. We knew there wasn't
Facts.
going to be some last minute deal.
Facts.
Still, even with that being said, yesterday hearing that the Players Association and MLB met for 7 minutes,
Right.
7 before talks broke off, that doesn't look good going forward. That has some foreshadowing. I mean, 7 minutes, 7 minutes,
7,
and now
bloody
all
minutes.
this stuff coming out about the baseballs, and I guess I don't know if we can say it's true or not, whether the marquee matchups use the juice ball, but if it's Texas and Seattle in the middle of the season, use whatever. Here's what I think about that, and I'm curious to hear what you think.
Oh, let's hear it.
So Rob Manfred says
You said that
production. There were production issues for Rawlings for the baseballs,
Right.
so there was going to be a mixed bag of baseballs, which is fine. I mean, right there, then and there, that's clear admission that there are 2 separate balls. We now can say definitively that there are 2 separate balls, right? And I don't think it would have been a big deal if it would have been, hey, there are 2 balls. We don't know who's going to get what. It's just going to be there. It is what it is. The issue is Major League Baseball owns Rawlings. So to go out and say like, well, Rawlings had this production issue because of the pandemic, that just seems fishy right there.
That just sounds like you're in charge and you're blaming it like on the janitor and shit. Like there's
Yeah.
Right.
But then now it's coming out that allegedly they're saying marquee matchups getting the juice balls. Shitty, mid-tier teams, middle of the season, give them the old ball or give them the new balls. I mean, that just looks terrible.
Yeah.
And I mean, if
Who
you
knows
look at
if it's true, but I mean, this is all.
dude, look at the
speculation.
Field of Dreams games. How many home runs were in that game?
Yeah, but
And
that
that's like the
field
most
was like
marked.
300.
I know,
feet, so
but that's
maybe-
like the most marquee matchup there is.
right.
So I mean, I just don't know, dude. Like Rob Manfred is just killing
bitch.
this game. And if you remember, dude, when Bud Selig was on his way out, everyone was super excited
Yeah.
because they thought, it can't get any worse. And boy, were we fucking wrong.
I'm still gonna stand by the idea. We don't know if Rob Manfred is a actual baseball fan. If he, I don't know what's going on here. I think what we really need to zero in on. I mean, there's going to be little things that are going to come out back and forth. It's going to go back to what I said 2 weeks ago. We're going to be embarrassed of the sport, for the next however long it takes them to figure this out. No matter what, people like you and me are fucking, we're in. It's not like when it comes back. If it comes back, in tomorrow, or if it comes back next year, we're gonna watch.
Of course.
So, but to kill your sport for casuals are gonna bounce out. Anyone who was thinking about it, bounce out, and you're gonna set yourself back so far because of the most ridiculous things, right? I understand you gotta give a little to get a little. I get that whole thing. But if you read Rob Manfred's letter to the fans, it was
Awful.
this was all on the players, the Players Association. How one thing that really got me was here, it says we offered to establish a minimum payroll for all clubs, and then it also said that it would increase compensation for all young players. And where's the big one right here? Draft system. No. Allow majority of players. Oh, here we go. To allow the majority of players to reach free agency earlier through an age-based system. So they're trying to paint the picture that we're giving them everything they wanted. We're giving them, earlier free agency, and we're giving them a salary floor, and they're just not giving us extended playoffs or whatever they're fighting for, which is just a way to continue to have blackouts to make more money and to hide how much money is coming in. And then you see a interview with Rob Manfred and how he's talking about it's ridiculous that they should lower the free agency to 5 years so you get to free agency because it's going to hurt smaller markets and it's going to hurt the fans. So basically, he's just admitting that the age-based system was probably like 29 or 30, no matter what. So players that are extremely talented that get in the league at 20, 21, like Juan Soto and Acuna, are going to be screwed because they're all going to be, you know, their chance for a large check is going to be shot. And it had to have been, because I'm sure they would have jumped on it if it was 26, 25, 27, you know, maybe even 20. I doubt it. It must have been at least 30. And then the other, when he talked about a salary floor, but then was saying that how are you going to take away from small market teams $100 million, basically saying they wanted the salary floor at the Players Association. I took it as they wanted it at $100 million, and that was just way too much. So what's the salary floor? 50 million? Is it 30 million?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a real floor if the floor is so fucking low. It's like slave wages, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a little much, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, but that's embarrassing. A $50 million floor, most teams are there anyways, or pretty damn close.
Yeah.
Like when we're talking salary floor, it needs to be bumped up to where a team can at least be competitive. And there's something I wanted to bring up. Oh, let me find it here real quick. Shout out to my boy Phil. My boy Phil sent me this article. This is something I wanted to bring up on the show because I know this is just gonna tickle your fancy because you talk about this all the time, right?
I love my
talking
fancy
about
getting tickled.
Teams competing and having realistic expectations and whatnot.
Right.
Diamondbacks GM claimed he didn't want to be unrealistic about the team's contention timeline after a 110 loss season, which makes it that much weirder that he just spent $14 million on all things a closer. I think it's, I don't know. I think if there were a salary floor, teams aren't going to have those comments of like, we don't want to be unrealistic. We want to manage our expectations and, you know, hope for a 100 loss season next year and then build on that and build on that. I mean, the idea, and sometimes I feel like we disagree on it, the idea is to win. That's the idea, is to win the World Series. And if you're not putting a product on the field every year, you're not going to bring that money in, and then that's on you. You got to spend money to make money. And like I get that there are teams like the Rays. St. Petersburg is a weird area. The stadium's kind of in the middle of nowhere. And I mean, they have a good squad, and apparently, you know, they aren't raking in the money, but they have found a way to win. So you got to find a fucking way to win.
I'm sorry, but if you wanted to buy the Tampa Bay Rays, that shit wouldn't be $1 million. It wouldn't be $5 million. It would be billions of dollars because it makes fucking money. And teams don't go on sale unless someone fucking dies or there's a scandal and they make you sell the team because they make fucking money. I understand that the Tampa Bay Rays maybe can't spend like the Dodgers, Giants, Yankees, and all that kind of stuff. I get it. They can't spend $200 million for some payroll, but 30 million, 40 million is a fucking joke. If you think that these teams are just scraping by at the moment, like there's some mom and pop shop, you know, small business, then you are fucking high. You are drinking the Rob Manfred Kool-Aid, and you need to get his balls out of your mouth. Like there's no other way to put it. These teams are making lots of money. All these owners are billionaires, so there's not owning it for no reason. Billionaires are smart. I don't want to say they're always ethical, but they're smart enough to make that amount of money. Yeah. So they're not going to, they're not doing it for the love.
I think one of the biggest things is going to be the free agent, what we're talking about, the free agent age, trying to find a way where you really can't manipulate service time. I mean, I don't know of any way right now.
Right.
But they got to figure something out because the whole age-based thing, sure, that takes away manipulating service time, but young dudes are going to be screwed.
Right.
I mean, you're killing, even like, let's say if it was 29 years old, you're your Corey Seagers, your Carlos Correas, like these guys getting big money, it's gonna, it's gonna kill them.
Right, and that's the thing. I think that there should be the reason that they manipulate service time and they're able to get away with it so egregiously is because it's only 2 weeks, right? That's what happened to Chris Bryant. He was literally brought up the day after the 2 week period, and he lost a full year of service time. So, I mean, if you just push it out a couple months into the season, there's your answer, because if this person is really good and they're going to make your team, 2 weeks and baseball, you could deal without them. Months, not going to happen. So if they spread that out to a little bit longer, I feel like that would be a large deterrent, unless the team is trying to tank. And honestly, I'm fine with teams tanking. I understand that, why settle for 70 wins every single year when you can maybe, go to 60 wins a couple times and just get a first round, really high first round picks and go that way. But at the same time, there has to be a punishment if you're going to continue to do that.
Well, and that's why I know it's proposed a draft lottery system like the NHL, like the NBA, which I'm in favor of. I mean, I think that gives you enough incentive because I don't think there's as much drop off as the NBA or NHL. In the NHL, the first pick and the 8th pick, huge drop off between those two guys. NBA, same thing. In Major League Baseball, in those drafts, I don't know if the drop off's that much, but I still think incentivizing teams like not knowing where they're going to fall in that 1 to 8 draft range, I think that will prevent some tanking. And then if you have the salary floor, that also helps.
Right.
I mean, there are things that are kind of building on top of one another that I definitely think would improve it. But
right, and not only that, early like to tank to get like 2 draft positions up in baseball really doesn't mean shit. I mean, if you look at drafts over the years, the top 5 usually are kind of underwhelming, and later in the drafts, the second, a couple from the second round or one from the third round are like the stars. I mean, Buster Posey, I think, was like the 8th or 9th pick. Brandon Belt and Brandon Crawford are picked like in the 4th and 5th round. Like franchise play, like it's not like football or basketball where they draft and they're right there. There's a lot of development that needs to happen. So, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. The thing that I'm worried about, and we kind of touched on it earlier, is it just got me thinking about, 2003, 2004, NHL had a complete lockout.
Mm-hmm.
No games, the whole season was lost. I feel like they're just now kind of hitting their stride this year. Viewership was definitely up, and then there was the lockout in, 2015, where I think it was a 48 game season with the NHL. So the NHL's had a lot of work stoppages. But now the NHL is getting back on ESPN. They're on TBS and TNT. They're streaming live on Hulu. Like now it's kind of getting national attention, but it's been 18 years. Yeah. And it's taken them that long to really like get back in the national conversation. I think hockey was never as popular as baseball, but I think it's going to be that sort of thing. If spring training, if pitchers and catchers don't report on time and it gets pushed back at all, it's going to take some time to recover, and they can't afford that because they're losing viewership every single goddamn year.
But they're still making
money,
more and more
exactly.
money. Not still making money, more and more money. Even
absurd amounts of money
with less viewership. If that is not a testament to a bullshit alarm going off that these owners are trying to cry poor, I don't know what is. I think one thing that really needs to be addressed too is their argument is free agency is not broke. I think it was quoted, keep hearing how free agency is quote unquote broken. When this offseason, they already shattered, what free agents were signing for in the last it was like 4 times the last offseason or something like that.
It's going to end up being 4 times the amount.
Yeah, it just in the month of November it said it was like 4 times the amount. I think that's what it said in the letter. But that's only for a handful of players. No one has ever said free agency is broken for the top 1% of baseball players.
Yeah.
Free agency is broken because not only just mid-level guys, but the higher mid-level guys will get paid $1 million or $500K in their prime, and then when they get to free agency, they're like, we'll give you $10 million for each year for 2 years, and they're competing on an ace level. Back when they were making $500,000 to $1 million a year, which is a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. I understand that. But if the billionaire owner is pocketing all the profit, there's a problem there. I think, I just think one thing that the Players Association would need to fight for, because from what I understand, from what Rob Manfred said, he's like 5 years, because it's at 6 years right now for free agency. To bring it down to 5 years is just the craziest thing. So the Player Association was just like, hey, let's bring it back a year. So I don't think they said anything that crazy. But if you don't want to do that, what you could do is give them another year of arbitration. It's after it's their third year. Bring it to a second year. And then maybe their first year of arbitration, pay them what they're fucking worth in those years. I mean, there's guys winning fucking Cy Youngs and top 3 of Cy Youngs, top 3 of MVP voting. The first year of arbitration, they're getting $6.5 million because that's their first year of arbitration. It's like, come on, dude. If you're going to try to stiff them in the end, then you need to pay them in the beginning if you don't want to pay them when they're old. Or you're going to have to pay them when they're old because they were making you millions and millions of dollars and making $6.5 million. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, dude, these negotiations are going to take a long time. And who knows when they're going to meet again? Who the fuck knows?
Yeah. Both sides are going to hurt. And not only just for viewership, but teams, you're going to have such a small window to put your team together for this upcoming season. The expectations, no matter what, are going to be there. They don't give a fuck if fans don't give a fuck if there was a lockout. If anything, they're more pissed. So you better have a fucking better product out there.
Well, but also for the players, like I think it's funny. The players are all changing their Twitter profile pictures to like the silhouettes.
Right.
That's pretty good. But I think it was Jameson Tyone posted that he's coming off surgery and now he can't talk to any of the trainers and go get treatment because they're locked out, which is insane to me.
Not even just that. You can't even speak to your manager. I was listening to a podcast, ESPN podcast, I think it was with Jeff Passan, and he was saying that if a coach was at a player's wedding on December 1st and it gets past 9:00, he has to go home. He can't.
Which Dave Roberts was at Mookie Betts' wedding this past weekend. So good for Mookie getting it in a couple days before the lockout. Good for him. Congrats to him.
Yeah, Dave Roberts had to be on the next flight out of there.
Right.
Yeah, so they can't even speak to them. Yeah. That's the most ridiculous shit I've ever,
come on, man. Dude, check this out. So I was reading this morning. I was at dinner last night with my fiance when we got the news that Sheldon Noisy was DFA'd to make room on the 40-man. And boy, I was celebrating. I ordered an appetizer to celebrate,
Jeez, I'm sure Sheldon Noisy is a great guy. You're such a dick.
No, I'm sure he is.
Terrible
I even
person.
let my fiance order a Pepsi because it was our anniversary or whatever.
Nothing's not the flavor of a steak, like some ketchup.
Like ketchup. If you don't get the reference, you suck. So I was like, oh, cool, But then I was reading something because he got DFA'd like 10 minutes before the 8:59 deadline. He's in DFA limbo with like 3 other guys that got DFA'd in that time period. So they're just nothing. They have until talks resume and they come to a deal. He's just a nobody.
That's
because he hasn't cleared waivers or anything like that. So that process will have to be put on hold I mean, it's just crazy, dude. These guys, I don't know. We'll see if it works, but dudes like Correa and Freeman, I wonder if it's going to help, maybe make no difference.
But that's the thing.
I'm curious to see.
Say they get back, right? Talks. I mean, say they clear a deal in a week, right? Or they clear in a week before spring training. Carlos Correa and Freddie Freeman are gonna get paid. Trevor Story is gonna get paid. It's not gonna be a problem.
I understand that, but I'm saying only having a week of negotiations.
People are going to
before spring training starts.
Some team is going to be like, fuck it, dude. We need Carlos Correa. Fuck it. We need Freddie Freeman back. Those guys are going to get paid. What I'm saying is the people like Sheldon Noisy, not only just Sheldon Noisy, but the lower tier free agents, like the Kikuchis of the world, they're going to get fucked. They're going to get fucked really hard. And
I think Kikuchi will be fine. I think fringe 40-man roster guys like Sheldon Noisy, those are the guys that are going to get fucked. You say Kikuchi's a big name. And the only reason he's a free agent is because his contract in Seattle was so fucking weird that Seattle basically, if they kept him this year, he was locked in for another 5. So that's why he's a free agent. I mean, he's still a decent pitcher. He's not a fringe guy. He's going to be in a rotation. He's not a fringe
guy, but I think he's definitely a middle guy. What I'm saying is he's going to be on a major league team, but he's not going to make as much as he should be making if this lockout didn't happen. I think the people who signed beforehand are going to are the ones that are safe and that are going to make out like a bandit. But I think the mid-tier guys after this are going to get fucked unless a deal gets made soon.
Let's not forget either that this free agency class is so different because look how many guys have signed before December 1st. That never happens ever. So now let's say the lockout goes until the end of January. Dude, usually it's like a guy will sign here, a guy will sign there between December and February. It's going to be crazy again if it goes until February and then all of a sudden all these guys, dude, Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, Freddie Freeman, Correa, like there are huge name guys out there.
Right. And so it's going to be, I mean, everyone remembers, what was it, 2-3 years ago when, the teams decided that the draft pick was way too valuable to hold on to. So Dallas Keuchel didn't sign, Craig Kimbrell didn't sign until after June. And then they came back and were freaking trash because they didn't have their normal, routine or whatever. I mean, they weren't the same dudes. So yeah, it's only going to hurt. I hope this is just theater. So in let's say in a month, we're like, hey, it's in the past. Who gives a fuck? But if they don't deal with it, if we're ringing in the new year and there's not a deal, I'd be a little worried. Right now, I'm not worried. I'm gonna wait till 2022 to be worried. Right now, I'm optimistic. I think just because I think there's too much to lose. I think that they know how bad a strike would be, and I think they got a taste of it in 2020. How much negative press they got and the back and forth, the bullshit. But you know what? We all forgot about it when, those dates were announced. So
yeah, but who didn't forget about the Players Association?
Exactly.
Those negotiations are a window into what these were going to be like. And that's what I've been saying the whole time is because those were so rough, I was going to reflect on this. I don't think there's going to be a strike, but I definitely think this work stoppage is going into January. And the biggest thing that bugs me about that is for the fans, it's just not fun now. Like I can't wake up in the morning and like check Twitter and MLB trade rumors and be like, what's going on? Who has interest in who? Who's talking about who? Now it's just
such bullshit to get excited about. Like, but you do.
I know, but
I always tell myself every offseason, like, I'm not going to get excited for in talks or this person is called about this person because it never materializes.
Right, but it's the first thing I check my phone every morning.
Right. Yep. No, you're right.
So
Giants are linked to this person. I'm like, ooh, let me put him in the lineup and see what it looks like.
yeah, dude, just seeing all the people, Freddie Freeman, Carlos Correa. I don't think either of those things are going to happen, but it's nice to think about. But yeah, I mean, it just takes away from, the fan experience, but whatever. At the end of the day, if they get it done, we don't have to worry about this shit for X amount of years again. So
right, and yeah, let's get it done and make it a 15-year deal, so I don't have to fucking hear about it. This is where we're at now, right? Where it's not looking good, and I'm sure there's going to be blows back and forth, and I hate this, and I know we're going to be embarrassed of this fucking sport. And it's so cringy to see Rob Manfred talk. I feel like the Players Association is handling it much better in what they're saying publicly. I understand that it's not 100% to someone's fault, but it's not always 50-50 either. And the way it's looking, it looks like MLB's really trying to push it on the players, that it's the Players Association 100%. And it makes me think that it's 90-10 on MLB. And that's the way it's looking to me. Obviously we're not in the negotiations and we don't have really insides, but that's just the way it's looking for me. If you had to put a percentage on it, Tyler, what are you putting it at?
I'd say it's close. I'm sure it's 80-20, 80 MLB, 20 Players Association.
Okay.
I think Players Association has the mindset of, we're not willing to budge on a lot of things based on how you fucked us all these different times, which they're totally in the right. But I think there's going to be an unwillingness to, I think there's going to be an unwillingness to budge because of that. And I think that's when it's going to prolong the lockout. But I don't know. I mean, dude, at this point, let's just make it a 20-team playoff. Get fucking 8 more expansion teams, and let's just call it a day.
Call it a
2
fucking
DHs
day.
in every lineup.
That's
for
honestly,
every league.
People have said that 2 DHs, saying the catcher doesn't have to hit. Like,
I would quit. I would stop watching baseball.
You just got me on board with the DH from 2020. Like, yeah, I get it. Pitchers are just so bad. And I think we're done talking about the lockout, right? We're obviously gonna follow every single word, every single article, every single thing that's being said, every interview, with Rob Manfred just fucking putting his foot in his mouth. But that's where we are right now, right? That's what we're gonna leave it at. 2 things that I did want to talking about this catcher position. A lot of Giants fans are saying how they're so hesitant to give the keys to Joey Bart. This is a 107 win team. How can you just let Joey Bart have it? This is crazy. After Buster Posey, if this was pretty much any other position, I might be able to understand where you're coming from. Not only is Joey Bart top prospect, top draft pick, all the cheese, all the talent, all that good stuff, but who the fuck are you planning on getting that's going to be better than, what Joey Bart can possibly be? The catching market is shot. So it's either you give this kid a chance and you got Kirk Casale backing him up, who's at least a very solid backstop, really good defensive catcher and can run into one sometimes. Just give him the keys. Let him fail. Let him fall.
Good defensive catchers who can hit don't come around very often. No. That's why that's like the most, like Will Smith is the Dodgers' most prized possession because it just doesn't come around, even though he's a terrible defensive catcher. Well, I had to throw that in.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's the thing. And Giants fans cannot be set on this guy's our next Buster Posey. You can't put that on him. That's insane to put on someone that's a once in a generation player. I get he just left. He's not going to be that. He's not a high average type guy. You're hoping this dude to be hopefully he's made a lot of big strides in AAA as far as defensively, and he's did his growing pains from the 2020 season.
Yeah, but you haven't given him a chance yet.
Exactly.
Like, Jesus Christ, he got to play in the pandemic season.
And that's the thing. People are saying you shouldn't just give him that chance. Like, give him the keys. This is a Bentley right now, but there's no other cars in the fucking lot.
Yeah.
Just fucking let him try.
when
Let
you
him
guys
try.
when you have like such a top prospect, what do you if you don't let him try? What are you going to do with him? Unless you have plans to flip him,
Yeah.
but
And I
then you
get it.
don't have a catcher.
Right, and I get it. You didn't hear much about Joey Bart in the Giants. Like you've been hearing about him the past 2 years, how great he's going to be, and all this yada yada yada. And you didn't hear about him last year, not because he didn't have a great year. He had a great year. It's just because the Giants had a great fucking year, so they didn't talk about the minor league system so much.
You talk about winning.
Yeah, exactly. So because guys are like didn't hear about him, they think, oh shit, he's not that great. And look what the little bit that we saw in 2020, we didn't play any games in AAA. He killed it in AAA. Give him the keys. Don't expect him to hit 300 and have 20-something bombs and be the best defensive catcher in baseball. That's not going to happen. His ceiling is going to be a lot of home runs, but he ain't going to hit 300. And hopefully he turns into a very solid defensive catcher. And he's he's got a fucking cannon for an arm, so he'll be throwing guys out.
And he's going to strike out a lot.
Yeah, and he's going to strike out a lot. Thank you.
Yeah.
Be prepared for that. It's going to happen. That's all I have to say about Giant stuff. But I do want to mention one thing. Marcus Stroman is off the board. Pour a little bit out. Bums me out. I'm so sad.
Who cares?
I care. I care because here's the thing, right? Giants Twitter is split in half on this. Bing bong. Let's hear it. Let's see. It's split in half, right? One side is Farhan's a cheapskate. Fuck him. He's so stupid. Yada yada yada. That's not really that loud to me. What I've seen a lot more people like, oh my God, shut up. You guys are going too crazy. Farhan is God and don't ever question him. You could say that he missed on some things.
Got to
right?
meet somewhere in the middle on those two things.
Exactly. I trust Farhan. Obviously, he took a really terrible team and made them very good.
And gave them PEDs and they figured it out.
Exactly. And so I trust him. But when Marcus Stroman was available for 3 years, I mean, obviously there's plenty of reasons. I mean, Marcus Stroman can be like, no, I just prefer Chicago. You want to go to Chicago. It doesn't really make sense because they're not a winning team, but that's not always people's priority. They want to be close to something, or they want to, be the ace of a staff. Who knows? I don't know Marcus Stroman, so I can't tell you what his headspace is. But if it was a thing of money, I can't see how a top, revenue team like the San Francisco Giants, who have had huge payrolls just a couple years ago, couldn't afford that when their payroll is so low right now. So I think I'm going to put my name on to swing and a miss, and I'm bummed that they didn't get him because they could have gotten him.
I think over the course of the 3 years, you'll be happy that you didn't.
I don't think so.
Real quick, just before we end,
It's only 3.
We haven't talked about Max Scherzer made some comments
In the comments section.
Now, before I say how I feel, I feel like you should say what you think.
I'm so freaking pissed. Honestly, I think he was blaming it on the fact, right. The comments were the reason he had a dead arm was because they limited his pitching, and I could see maybe where he's coming from. I think it's weird to say at a press conference like that to throw a little bit of shade at your old team for kind of no reason. I mean, they didn't really own that much. He was only on the team for, a short period of time, but I would honestly say, maybe your arm is not used to that mileage because last year you only played 60 games. So I would put more, stock into the 60 game thing than I would put into, hey, you limit instead of, me pitching 8-9 innings, you had me pitch 6 and 7 innings. Oh, it doesn't really
but
make sense.
If you look back at it, he pitched, the pitch count may have not been high, but he went a fair amount of innings except for 2 starts, and then there was the rain delay.
And there was one that he asked to be pulled out. He said, I have something wrong with my arm in like the 6th inning, and they pulled him out.
My take on it is, who the fuck cares? He's gone. He's not a part of this organization anymore. It was great while it lasted. It was fun. I was at his Dodger debut against the Astros. It was insane.
Name drop.
But he's gone. He's on the Mets. Guess what? The Mets aren't going to be that great. I don't care what they do. I just think the Mets aren't going to go that far.
We say this every year, dude, how you might say, oh, the Mets are going to be shitty. And I'm like, I don't know, man. They have a really good rotation every single fucking year, and they find a way to fuck it up.
Yeah.
I mean, they do. They have like one of the best rotation. I mean, I can't think of off the top of my head, think of a better rotation in baseball. Taijuan Walker with the, your third.
There's certainly no better 1-2, that's for sure. But
yeah.
I just
mean, even as a whole, I mean, but I mean, they just find, I don't know, they lost Aaron Loop. I don't know if their bullpen's just going to be imagine if their bullpen just fucks it up for them. Like that could be a Mets thing, we could be, I can completely imagine us in, 8 months like in 8 months being like, yeah, I can't believe the Mets are going to finish, 80 and fucking
yeah. When they had a 15 game lead at the All-Star break. I mean, the thing about Max Scherzer is he's a generational pitcher, right?
Right.
And he pitched very well for the Dodgers. He pitched exceptional for the Dodgers, but he has known to get shelled every once in a while.
Right.
So and he's going to be 37 years old. I don't think this is like, I think he's going to pitch well, but I don't think, this is like a guy in his prime going somewhere that it's going to really put a team over the hump.
I think that has put a team over the hump. If they're
it
there.
Depends. Yeah. If they're there, I was just going to say, I think the Mets need more.
But the thing is him being 37 and the injury history with Jacob deGrom, one thing that's really important is you're going to have depth, because you're going to have to imagine Max Scherzer is going to be on the DL. I'm not wishing anyone to get injured, but I'm saying he's going to need at least fatigue rest, or, he's just going to have something bogging him. So they might put him on the shelf for a couple weeks, or it might happen a couple times, or who knows, a big injury. So that's going to happen to both those guys, even if it's for a week. So there's going to be times where they're on the shelf a little bit. And if you have no depth, you're going to fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're in 162 games, you're as good as your fucking second, lineup that you put out there. So, and even stars go in slumps and all that jazz, which is why you need depth. So if you're just concentrating on the top guys, and their lineup looks like they have a lot of depth now with all the signings they did, but
yeah, who knows? If there's like 9 wild card teams like MLB is proposing, then I'm sure the Mets will get in there somehow. But as far as the comments, dude, who cares? He's gone. Like it's time to focus on the coming season.
Right. And I don't think you went over the edge on this. But I feel like I've seen a lot of this kind of talk on Twitter. Please, if you are a fan of this sport, realize that it's not your money. Realize that what we've been saying, that these teams are billionaire owners, $1 billion franchises, make billions of dollars a year after they pay these players. So they still make billions of dollars on this sport, right? So when you say things like, I'm glad we didn't go to a 5th year on Kevin Gausman, good luck. We didn't want to pay that much for him anyway. You're not paying for it. You're going to be paying the same money for a ticket, whether your payroll is, 80 million or 120 million. I know that's probably a little more than that, but you get what I'm saying. A little bit of difference. You're not going to see much of a difference in tickets. So pay the dues what they're worth. Don't complain if they go an extra year and it's, Johnny Cueto getting paid 20 million in his last year when he really wasn't that good, and realize he was, pitching to a caliber of larger than 20 million in his first couple of years with the deal. Sometimes you get burned at the back end. That's the way it is.
Yeah,
so
that's how it's going to be with Mookie Betts.
Exactly.
He's going to have like 5, 6, 7 prime years. But I mean, the good thing is hopefully the NLs get in the DH, so then you get a lot of wiggle room, but you can transition into second base. But dude, any guy that's going to get more than 7, 8 years, unless it's like a Wander Franco or
but you have to do it.
Yeah, but I'm saying guy like Acuna and Franco being that young, getting a deal like that might be worth it. Even a Tatis could be worth it. But a guy like Seager, Correa, you're going to overpay, but you have to, because that's what the market dictates. It's not your money. And stop making fake fucking Twitter Jeff Passan profile that fuck up my emotions. You're all pieces of shit. This episode has been brought to you by Renovation Candle Company,
It has.
where it is now the 4-year anniversary of this company that I started by myself, still run by myself. I'll hit it with the jingle, Renovation Candle for your birthday.
But
And for a limited time only, you can
Tyler's
get
still a bitch.
40% off your entire order.
Yeah.
Just use code benches.
He raised his prices 55% and gave you 40% off.
That's capitalism, baby.
Yes, thank you guys so much for listening. And yes, make sure to check out those Renovation Candle Companies. The beautiful candles they have there smell so good. And yeah, thank you so much for listening. Make sure to follow us on your favorite podcasting platform as well as YouTube. Follow us on your favorite social media platforms too. Benches Cleared Podcast on Instagram, Benches Cleared P on Twitter, and Benches Cleared on TikTok. Thank you guys so much. And unless something big happens, like, I don't know, a lockout ending,
Yeah.
we'll just see you on a regular time next week.